What's up to all my learned friends out there? My name is Jeff Kowalk and you are watching Erudite Magic. So glad to have you here today. This channel is all about magic books, so if that's your thing, you're definitely in the right spot. Today I want to talk to you about something that's slightly off the beaten path. Most of the time we talk about book reviews. We may be discussing the latest thing to come out, we may be discussing an older classic, but at the end of the day we're usually talking about one book, unless we're going over the 5-Foot Shelf of Magic series. But today I want to do something just a little bit different. I want to talk to you about how you can find hidden gems for yourself. I've had a series on here about hidden gems, and to be perfectly honest, I haven't done a very good job of keeping up with it. I have a few ideas, but I really want to hear from you about how you want to hear about hidden gems. Feel free to drop a comment either down below this video or in one of my myriad of social media accounts. I have Facebook, Instagram, and now the community page on YouTube right here where you can message me, post your thoughts, or share any kind of knowledge that you want with our little group of erudite magicians. I want to explain to you today about how I find hidden gems, and I hope that'll be helpful to you. But beyond how I find them, I want to also explain how I think that you can find hidden gems beyond just what Jeff at Erudite Magic thinks. In this video, not only am I going to teach you how you can come up with your own hidden gems, where you can find hidden gems, I'm going to be tipping items that have been released commercially that you can read right now for free and learn to do. So stay tuned. Let's get into this. So how does one go about finding hidden gems? I'm gonna break this down into a few simple steps for you. One is, I think you need to read a lot, as much as you can. I've talked about this in previous clips, and I think that it really goes without saying, but you have to read. If you want to find hidden gems for yourself, then there's a direct correlation between the number of hours you spend reading and the number of effects you're going to find. Let's break that down even further, because this is how you accomplish goals, right? You set something and then you break it down into smaller and smaller targets that will help you achieve what you want. And if you're wanting to find hidden gems, this is the work you have to do. The big step is you need to read more. How do you do that? I've found a few things that were helpful to me, and I'm going to share them with you here. The first thing is to set aside a specific time every day that you're going to read. Basically, I found that if you're not intentional, you're just kind of wandering through life and who knows what's going to happen. If you want to achieve a goal, you have to set aside specific time to do it. It doesn't always have to be a consistent time, but you need to plan it out ahead of time. You need to know where you're going to go. I talked about this in a previous video, but I'll refresh your memory. I think that it helps if you have a dedicated space, and I got this from Richard Osterland among others, but it has a very old tradition to it. For example, Dr. Elliot, when he traveled, he used to book 2 hotel rooms. He would use one of those rooms to sleep in. The other room was completely dedicated to practice so that there were no distractions. This was well before the era of internet, mobile phones, kids. Now, I don't know if those were distractions to him. In today's world, there's always something that's trying to suck our attention away, whether that's a digital device or something, too many things piled up around. So you want to kind of clear your desk, have 1 or maybe 2 things that you want to read so you don't hit a wall by getting decision fatigue. We've all been scrolling through Netflix and there's so many choices that sound okay, but you can't decide because there's too many choices. So limit your choices for yourself. And if you want to develop this into a habit, you need to have that dedicated space with 1 or 2 things. Preferably you want to have your notebook there with a pen so that you can take notes. We've talked about this before, because if you want to keep up with your hidden gems, you're going to need to write things down. To get a gem, it's a little bit like really mining for true gems. You're going to find something that isn't really that beautiful. It's just a nugget. It's something that's there that maybe could be something beautiful, but you're going to need to cut and polish and hone that into a gem. So set aside a space for it. Set aside a time for it if you can. And then I would say the more consistent you can be with that time, the better your progress will be. I don't think that that 3rd step is strictly necessary, but I think it will accelerate your path if you want to find your own hidden gems. The 4th subpoint that I would add under read more is to limit your reading and don't get too many books started at once. Most of us can't juggle too many things at once, but if you do, make sure that you have the right tools in place to help you keep track of where you are. Get a bookmark, use the journal to write down down what page you stopped thinking about and keep track of your progress so that you know where you are, what you've read, and what maybe stuck out to you. Sometimes it's good to read an idea, and if you like the idea, I'll give you another Richard Osterlin tip, which is to stop what you're doing, grab the props that are necessary, and walk through the trick. If something catches your interest, you probably want to explore it just a little bit right now. While I said clear your desk and try not to have too many distractions, I'll add to that and say it's okay to have a pack of cards on your desk, because if your reading time turns into practice time, that's a good thing too. That brings me to my second point, which is that you have to practice more. So you have to read more if you want hidden gems. You also have to practice more, because you have to start to figure out what things work for you, what sleights, what ideas, until you feel your hands and your mind going through the process of doing a trick. You're not going to really know what's going to work for you. I think we all kind of make an assumption that any trick will work for any magician. That's the premise that's been going on for probably hundreds of years among magicians, ever since the first magic shop opened. You walked into the shop, the guy demoed something, you were amazed, and you thought, if that amazed me, I think I can amaze others with it. That's not always the case, so you're really going to need to put some practice in. The more intentional you can be, the better your results are going to be. I think you're going to hear a recurring theme throughout this entire video, and that is intentionality. While I normally reserve a word of the day for a book review, I think it's appropriate here to give the word of the day, and that is intentional. I would also encourage you to read broadly. You're going to want to read broadly. Read something old, or read something new. Read something red, or read something blue. No, that's not what I meant. Read something that requires a little more thinking power and sleight of hand, something that's going to challenge you beyond what you're currently capable of, or read some stuff that maybe is super easy to do and gives your brain a little bit of a chance to relax. You're going to find techniques, tips, presentations in everything you read. Don't read anything without thinking that there's an opportunity to learn something. You have to keep that inquisitive mindset. And for me, the way that works is that I have to read broadly. Let's be clear, my approach isn't going to work for everyone. I know some people want to specialize and they want to be a sleight of hand master, or they want to be a gambling expert or things like that. And if you already know what you want to do, you're probably not watching this video trying to figure out how to come up with hidden gems. You already have your marching orders. You know exactly what you want to do. So good for you. If you're like the myriad of others who doesn't know what they want to do, the advice that I'm giving is to try to help you find yourself and what works for you. What could be a beautiful piece of magic in your hands to perform. Read theory, read about presentations, read about somebody who does gambling, read the professor. Remember that this is a journey. Your styles and tastes are going to change. I've told you a little bit about my history in other videos. I started off as a close-up card guy. In fact, if David Regal published a magic trick, there was a pretty good chance that I knew it and performed it. I think those things that I learned stood me in good stead, and now that I'm more of a mentalist, I still have a very healthy respect for card magicians and fun close-up magic. But I'm not so stuck on I only read mentalism. I already have some things that I perform, so I like to read pretty broadly. And if you're truly looking for things that are off the beaten path or things that other performers aren't performing, start with the books that no one else is reading. So while it's fun to buy the newest, latest book, and there's certainly going to be thinking that will help you there, you're probably going to want to read something that others haven't read in a while. Because like I've already told you can get Tarbell for free as the original course, and there's so much good magic in this that it's difficult to believe you wouldn't come up with something that would stimulate a thought about how you could present this and could be the next hidden gem for you. Here's another way to kind of find some hidden gems in a different sort of way that will engage your creative thinking. If you read a magic advertisement, and we all get the daily emails that are always teasing you with some latest, greatest downloaded video effect, but what I like to do is play a game with sometimes my friends, sometimes I play it with myself. Take the effect, break down how would you do it based on what you've read. And if you don't know how you would do it, but before you plunk down the cash, I recommend that you go to Dennis Bear's Conjuring Archive. Go over there, research the effect, find out if you already have some books on your shelf that could help you figure out your own way to do the effect. Here's one of those promised gems that I'm going to drop. A while back, Penguin released a video by Doc Hilford called Junkie. It's a pretty neat mental divination of cards. I was interested in it, but I really wasn't ready to drop the money. I felt like with my library, I probably have some resources that would present a comparable effect. I found the best version of this within my resource through Animan. Should come as no surprise to anyone who knows me, I love Ted Animan stuff. In his book, Animan's Card Magic, and actually in The Jinx, he released Henry Crisp's Mental Stud, which is, from my viewpoint, a very similar trick to the one Doc Hilford's releasing. I'm not putting down the Doc Hilford release. I haven't watched it. I just watched the trailer, did some research, and this is what I came up with. So, because The Jinx is a free resource, I'm going to provide a link down below where you can download the old Jinx. They're not searchable, so if you want the searchable version, you're going to have to pony up the $20 to buy the version that is searchable. The ones that I'm providing, though, are free, and if you know what you're looking for or have a good index, you can find a lot of stuff. I'm not going to teach you here how it works, but I did point you in the right direction and basically gave it to you for free, so I hope you'll look that up. So what are some of the resources available to you if you are not interested in mining your own hidden gems? I'm going to give these to you, even though I don't really recommend that you try to take other people's hidden gems, although that may be a great starting point to spark your own creative juices. There are a couple places that I've gone historically when I'm looking for hidden gems. The first is friends. Many of my friends already perform magic tricks that are great, and they're willing to share where they got it from. So belonging to a magic club, although I know it has its negatives, for me it's always been a very positive thing to surround myself with other people who care deeply about magic and who share the enthusiasm and joy that it brings. So you're going to learn a lot of moves, techniques. Sometimes they'll be unpublished, many times they're already published, and they're willing to either loan you the book, point out where it is, or help you find a copy so that you can learn a trick or a move. The other beauty of this is that usually they'll be willing to show you how they have improved it or found that it works better for them through years of trial and error that you can shortcut. I've kicked around a lot of different ideas with so many friends who've helped me over the years to take something that I thought was a really cool thing and I wanted to take it in a slightly different direction, and they helped me, so I recommend that you start with friends. The second place, and you have to be careful because this contradicts earlier advice, the Magic Cafe. If you go down to one of the basement sections, I can't remember which one, a long time ago, Vlad77 and some others put together a list of hidden gems from a lot of different periodicals, books, and other resources that they thought people were largely ignoring but were great tricks. I still think a lot of these are great. They're typically lost to history because everyone's always looking for the next latest and greatest thing, and as the threads get bigger, that one gets pushed down to the bottom. I may try to resurrect it and have you look there because there's a ton of great stuff in there if you just want something to help you think about and get into your library. At the end of the day, your ability to find hidden gems is completely up to you. If you're willing to set aside the time to read, learn, grow, absorb, and practice material, you're going to find things that work for you. If you're just waiting for them to fall from the sky into your lap, you're going to be waiting a long time for that, I think. But hey, I've got an idea. If it's helpful to you, I am going to start a section in my social media accounts dedicated to hidden gems. So if you have something that you'd like to share with the greater group, please stop by, drop it into the comments, throw down a picture, and we'll make sure that you get the credit you deserve for finding this hidden gem. And who knows, you may be able to connect with some other magicians who share a passion for learning from magic books. I'm going to put some links down below to the resources I mentioned in this video, so please check them out. And if you know of others, please let me know. Those are all great resources to do some research and help you hone in on hidden gems that are just waiting to be found within your library. They're probably the ones that have been slightly erased with the passing of time. I want to encourage you with how easy this can be for you to find hidden gems. It doesn't have to be difficult. Set aside some time, read more, read broadly, and then talk to other magicians to find out what are they studying. If you're going out to the internet as a whole, the chances are good that whatever you're going to find there isn't really a hidden gem. But if you keep that group that you're discussing to friends and close magical associates, I definitely believe you can find hidden gems together. That's what this is about, is helping each other to share more magic. That's what I've got for you. I hope this helps you to hone your magical art so that you can find and present hidden gems to your audiences. This has been an episode of Erudite Magic where we love all things magic book related. Until next time, my erudite friends, keep reading.